John Murphy, your Make 100 Healthy guy, and sweet angel Cecelia Jernegan, and we are the very, very proud hosts of the Make 100 Healthy Club, making its debut on Cast 11.
We are so excited to be here, John. We have been putting together this show for quite a few months. So excited with Cast 11 to be our partners, and we are ready to tell you about Make 100 Healthy.
So the whole concept of Make 100 Healthy and the Make 100 Healthy Club is that it's the club everyone wants to be part of, to live to 100 years or more with health, happiness, and most importantly, purpose.
And John, it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, and 80s. It doesn't matter. You can start today. Yes, you can.
So, yeah, our tagline is, yes, you can make 100 healthy. But our second tagline is, but it doesn't happen by accident. I always say, how many very obese people do you see that are 100 years old?
Right.
None, because they're not here anymore. And
Right.
so the bottom line is that our show is dedicated to living a long, healthy, happy, and balanced life. How do we do that, Cecelia?
Well, and here's the thing, John, like you said, it doesn't come by accident. You have to work on it. You have to be disciplined, dedicated. I know we've all heard that. People have told me you got to eat right. You got to exercise. You got to take your supplements. You got to sleep. But how do you do it in today's world, today's fast-paced world? How you do it, John?
Well, and that's what we're here to be. We're here to be your informers, your educators, your motivators, and your implementation accountability buddies.
Yeah.
Because everyone, as my dad used to say, everyone knows what to do,
Right.
but very few people do that.
And I need somebody to motivate me. I mean, I've tried to do it on my own. I've tried to go to, other doctors and healthcare professionals and everybody, but I need somebody to be with me to help me. And that's what we're going to do.
So we're here on this journey with you. And we've called the show the Make 100 Healthy Club because this is not just us sitting here talking. We want to get involved. We want you to be a part of the process. And Cecelia, our first segment is called Movement Matters. And that is why it's really essential. No matter what we think to do, unless we do them, it means nothing.
And you have to think about it consciously. I mean, if I'm sitting in the car driving, I can move my neck back and forth. I can do standing in the grocery line. I can do some exercises with my shoulders. So that is our first segment about movement matter. And all of these segments that you're going to talk about, we've got lined up too some amazing guest speakers that are going to be coming in talking about all this.
So each week we're going to go through each area of what really comprises a balanced life. But movement, either you use it or you lose it.
Right.
And we're here for you to use it. So we don't want you just to watch us converse. We want you to move.
Get excited.
Stretch out, move your arms, reach up to the sky, touch your toes. Anything you can do to keep movement, your body going, is going to help you stay younger, more engaged, and more alert.
And one of the easiest ways to move, I believe, if you have two legs and you can walk, there is nothing better than going out your front door of your home, of your office. Go for a little walk, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's good mentally. It's good physically. And that is what Movement Matters is all about. And that takes us to segment 2. Take a deep breath. And I love what John told me about taking a deep breath. Do you remember back in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, you told me people used to smoke cigarettes?
Well, people still smoke cigarettes, but back then, smoking cigarettes was not just the act of smoking, it was the deep breathing aspect.
Right.
And many people like to smoke because it relaxes them. How many times have you heard people say, I smoke because I need to relax?
Right.
Well, the smoke is not relaxing you. What is relaxing you is that deep drag.
And ever since John told me that, now when I'm driving, any place, I stop and think about smoking a cigarette and I go, and it relaxes me, even though, like you said, you're not taking in the smoke, but they did that in the 1920s and 30s and 40s and 50s up until the 60s. And we figured out, oh my God, that causes lung cancer.
Well, I think you're I think smoking up till now is still prevalent. Not as much, though.
Right.
And so the last 20 years, we've made great progress on that. But the bottom line is that people are so stressed out with the daily grind of the obligations of life, getting up, getting the kids out, or getting yourself up, getting to work, dealing with traffic, coming home, having to make dinner, having to be on the go all the time. You have social media. And what happens is people experience something called shallow breathing. Do you know what that is?
Just barely taking a breath, I guess.
Well, that's true. That's pretty close to it. So when you're deep in thought or you're thinking about something important in your mind or something is bothering you, you might notice after a while that you haven't taken a breath in 30 seconds. Yeah. And that's what we call shallow breathing.
Okay.
If you do shallow breathing enough, you're going to deprive your brain of the oxygen, and it can have health benefits and certainly can create a lethargic response. So we want to make sure that you're doing something called conscious breathing, where you were
Stop
doing
and
it,
think
where
about
you take a deep breath, stop and smell the roses. There are a lot of cliches that have a lot of true meaning behind them. So forgive us for our cliches, but that's what it's all about. And so every day you can start your day with conscious breathing. I do. Every day, Cecelia, I do 30 seconds of deep breathing through my nostrils. And then I let it out slow through my mouth. And you do it longer. You do that 10 times. And then you hold your breath as long as you can without blacking out, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that is called intermittent hypoxia, where you're depriving your brain of oxygen. And what this does is it activates your brain and your body to surge blood and endorphins to your brain. And it is a way that your body can naturally make stem cells. Did you know that?
Well, you know what, John? I did know that. I had a great doctor, Elaine Kissel. She's a hypnotherapist, and she was the one that introduced me to deep breathing. But you have to think about it because, like John said, we're all so busy in today's world. And so you have to, it almost is like an exercise with your muscle. You got to do that every day until it becomes a habit. So the same thing with the deep breathing is that you've just got to consciously think about it and do it. And you will not believe how good it makes you feel. It really does make you feel good.
There is a master breath expert out there. His name is Dan Brule. I'll put a link in here for Dan Brule. But he is the person that helps everybody from Tony Robbins to get to their full breathing potential. And he says, if you breathe in so dramatically for 5 minutes, you can't help but change your physiological body, your mind, your spirit, everything. 5 minutes of intentional deep breathing can change your life.
And it's free.
And it's free.
It's free.
And a lot of the tips that we have in our Make 100 Healthy Club are free. It just takes time. So I will say that before you do any of these exercises, you should consult with a physician to make sure that you don't have any type of ailment that we don't know about, but under normal circumstances, doing intermittent hypoxia is something that will just renew, recharge, and revitalize your body and your brain.
Right, because you've only got one body to live in, And
we only have one life to live it in.
Yes.
And so, there's a saying that it's never too late until it's too late. And that means you have a chance to change your circumstances until you don't. You can exercise until you can't. But the bottom line is is that what you need to do and what we're talking about is you need to take action. The difference between an idea and a dream is the action. It's the implementation. And that's why we want to invite you to join our club, the Make 100 Healthy Club. Now, when you join this club, it's absolutely free at the moment. You're going to get a daily meme, an inspirational message. We're going to do weekly office hours where you can chat with Cecelia and I off the air so we can talk about what part of your journey is what's important to you. We have a newsletter. We have different swag. So this will evolve, but you can go to make100healthyclub.com and you can join our club, and we'd love you to be part of it.
And I think that's what, I flash back to my days when I was in high school and everybody wanted to be part of a club, whether it was the debate club or what was on the football team. Everybody wants to be part of the club. This club is for you. This club is to help you as you move through your life, because right now, you guys, we all need help right now. And so that's why John and I are so excited. And our next segment that we're going to talk about is your longevity blueprint. And I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that.
Well, you can't get anywhere in life without a roadmap, a blueprint, a plan. The ancient Japanese say if they are going to implement something, they'll take 95% of the time to think about it, and then 5% is the actual doing. So you want to make sure that you think about what you want out of your life and how to get there.
So is it like a roadmap? So
It
say,
is a
for
roadmap.
example, if I wanted to drive from Prescott, Arizona or Phoenix, Arizona, and I want to go back to New York.
Right.
I've got to have a roadmap or I've got to have a plan, right?
That's correct. And so what's more important than your health and your daily life? Many people just go through their life. They have their cup of coffee. They let the day bring whatever it does. And at the end of the day, they may not have accomplished anything. So the bottom line is that you have to plan your work and work your plan. And that's what the longevity blueprint is all about. The first thing that we all think about for getting healthy is to lose weight. Now, that's not necessarily true. There's some people that are very thin that are not healthy.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so it's not just a weight thing, but no one can argue that our society today is full. 2/3 of the people are either overweight or obese in the United States. That is a terrible statistic. And I got to tell you, it's not your fault.
Nope.
Because with the chemical additives and the deceptive marketing that's out there that makes you think that something's healthy, or, the big craze was low cal, low cholesterol. Well, we need cholesterol for our brain health.
And I remember, John, back in the day when they said that the most important meal of your day is your breakfast. You've got to have cereal and you got to put sugar on it and you got to have like bananas cut up and then you got to pour milk on it. Guess who was advertising and marketing to us about that? It was the cereal company.
So the bottom line is that we're at a new time with social media, with information, with resources, that there's really no excuse to not take care of yourself.
Right.
There's lots of misinformation, so you have to sift through what works for you, because we are all uniquely God's creations and we have our own DNA. And so while most of the tips that we talk about will work for some people, your blood type, your ability to lose weight, whether you're diabetic. But the bottom line is this, is that our society and our food chain in the United States is full of chemicals, additives, fruit, high corn syrup, sucrose, fruit syrup. It's all types of bad things. And it all comes down to sugar. But these are cheaper and less complex additives that have absolutely no nutritional value. So Americans are getting filled up, we're getting bloated, we're getting inflamed, and we're getting fatter, but we're not getting healthier.
And it's not just obesity, John. I mean, my company, Visiting Angels, one of the things that we've been seeing is the dementia and the Alzheimer's and the memory issues. And it used to be like old people, Now we're starting to see that in 40-year-old, 50-year-old. What is going on? And I saw a gentleman talking on a documentary about the brain and plaque and how that causes dementia and Alzheimer's and memory issues. And guess how that plaque gets built up in your brain? Sugar.
So sugar is pretty much at the root of every ailment that we have. It is what creates, sugar in your blood is diabetes.
Right.
Sugar in your brain is Alzheimer's.
And it's not just white sugar. It's not just taking, the white sugar and adding it on the top of your cereal. It's the carbohydrates. And I didn't realize that I'm Italian, What are you, John? Are you Italian?
I'm Italian, I'm Irish, and German. I'm a mutt.
Yeah, well, I'm Italian and I'm Polish. And so when I grew up, I was a Polwop, whatever, But both sides of my family, we ate pasta and bread and, pizza. These are lasagna. These are things that I grew up on and I loved. And I had no idea that carbohydrates turns into sugar. And that's where we get our energy. And so how do you stop that progression?
So the main thing that we can agree on and makes total sense is to really review what's in your refrigerator. Part of your longevity plan is to really analyze what are you putting inside your body,
right?
Because you are what you eat. And the bottom line is that if you're eating a lot of processed foods, if you're eating a lot of meats that are cured with additive salt, you're going to be inflamed. You're not going to feel good. You're going to feel lethargic. And what's going to happen is your body is going to start fighting back. That's when you feel pains and aches. So the first tip of your longevity blueprint is to really look at what's in your diet and get as many processed foods as you can out of your diet. That means eating real whole grains, fruits, vegetables, drinks that are tea-based, okay? You don't want any, sodas. It's not very, very good for you. And people know that. But so the first thing is getting rid of as many processed foods as possible.
And so that's your roadmap to, success, as John was talking about, and what you have to do, and you can have fun doing it. One of the recipes that my son and my family, we love is called shepherd's pie. You put hamburger, you put mashed potatoes, you put cheese and everything. Well, guess what? You can still make that with cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes. I can still have the foods that I grew up with, that I loved eating, but you just have to change the recipe a little bit. But that brings us, John, to our...
Well, let's just stay there for a second, okay? Because a lot of times people have basically fooled themselves into thinking eating bad, fatty foods is a treat. And it's not a treat. I always say to people, would you drink antifreeze? Of course not. Well, some of the foods we eat can be just as harmful as literally antifreeze. And before we get to our next segment, which we're very passionate about, we have a very special guest coming into the studio. Her name is Sharon Chase. And Sharon is a doTERRA essential oil expert. And she's been a friend of both Cecelia and mine for many years. And we're going to bring her back as soon as we come back from this message.
So John Murphy, the Make 100 Healthy guy, we were so excited to have you as our first guest speaker, Sharon Chase. And Cast 11 has given us this wonderful opportunity. And I thank you so much for being here today.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. But one of the things I like to talk about is a little bit about you. And, you have enriched my life so much. Just so that the audience knows, she has brought so many wonderful people into my life. And I'm so very, very blessed for her. But also, I have an army of angels in northern Arizona, and I'm trying to teach them to all be healthy, happy, having harmony in their lives. And you were gracious enough to come and talk to my angels. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about is, how did you get involved in this world of health and your detour oils and everything that you've been doing? How did you get involved in this?
Well, primarily it was for my own recovery.
Okay.
In 2006, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and it had gone undiagnosed for 10 to 12 years.
Wow. And the people in the audience that don't know what Lyme disease is, tell us exactly what that is.
Okay. Lyme disease mimics lupus and MS. It attacks your joints and muscles. It's tick-borne and usually has a co-infection or 2 or 10 with it. And it's very debilitating. Gone undiagnosed for all those years. I ended up with severe joint pain, arthritis. I had just bought a 2-story house and soon after was diagnosed, and then treatment always makes it worse before it makes it better because it's trying to get
Where did you
out
get
of your
the
system.
treatment? Did you get it back in
Michigan?
In Michigan.
Yep.
So you got the treatment back in Michigan.
Yes.
Okay. Did it help?
Oh, yes, but it was kind of debilitating. Again, it gets worse before it gets better.
Okay.
So I sought out a natural practitioner, which in 2006, not too many practitioners knew about Lyme or cared to even find out about it. So I was very fortunate to find the doctor that I did. And the treatment that he gave me was mostly holistic, but at the time too, you have to do very intense drugs like doxycycline and things to treat the infection, especially when it's as advanced as it was for me. So
that had to change your life. Didn't that completely change your life?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
And it geared me towards finding natural remedies and how to defend myself against things, to build my immune system. And that got me into the oils.
That is interesting that you say that, because what John was talking about a little bit ago is that we have to take accountability for ourselves.
100%.
I mean, when I was growing up, doctors were God, and whatever they told you, you had to do. I mean, I'm sure you all remember that. But really, you have to take accountability for your own body, your own self, and you have to do your own research. And that's what you did.
Absolutely. And that's why I took it just from treating myself or helping myself to empowering others to take back the control of how they live their lives and how they made conditions better.
Okay.
And
so did you have to change your diet? Did you have to change what
Yes.
you ate? Did you have to,
Yes.
was that hard to do?
It was, because chocolate was one of the main food groups and sugar is a no-no. Wine was another one of the major food groups back then too. And so I had to cut out sugar, alcohol, and gluten. And my response to my doctor literally was, shoot me now. What else is there to live for? So.
What's left in life if you can't have wine and chocolate, I always tell people my life would be just okay if I had like $5 million and a big box of chocolate. That's all I need, in life, But so you had to cut out all of that.
I did. And it was tough, but it was a life or death situation.
Do you still not able to have gluten and you can't have
No, I
sugar?
have been able to reintroduce those things, but I also have, through studying because of the illness, I have found that there are different degrees of acceptability as far as ingredients.
Okay.
So I went from milk chocolate to dark chocolate,
Okay.
red wine
I
instead of white.
Yeah, I bet you read the labels. Do you have to read, like when you go to the grocery store, do you
Well, I
everything?
did, and to the point where it would take me 2 hours to get through the grocery store. But I have found a fantastic app. It's called Yuka. I'm not sure which. YUKA.
YUKA. Write that down. Yucca. Okay.
Yes, and you scan the label or the UPC code.
Okay.
And
It
through
gives
that,
you-
it has
gives
the
you all the-
information
oh,
that's
wow.
in the ingredients, and it gives a rating. And it also will tell you if it's a borderline rating, like 49 is bad, 50 is good. So
Okay,
you're on the borderline.
okay.
You can drill down, but you can
Okay.
get a ton of information and go through the grocery store.
So that helped you shopping for
Yes.
groceries. Now, what about the oils? Because I know that you found a lot of information about the different oils, and how did you come about finding out about that?
Well, just in my quest to do better for myself, I started
Okay.
researching oils, and in 06, when my health was
Okay.
failing, that's when I introduced them, and I just kept learning ever since. There's so much to know, and it's all
Okay.
good. It's like, put the good things in your body and get the bad things out.
Sure,
It's
sure.
as simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, essential oils, if they are pure grade, and there's a certification, CPTG, Certified Pure Tested Grade.
Okay.
If it has that certification, it's 100% pure. No
Yeah.
synthetics, no adulterations. Our body knows what to do with those. And think about it, oils have been around for centuries.
That's true. That is so.
Cleopatra
Yeah.
used oil. So
Yeah, that is so. That's why her skin was so beautiful.
Exactly.
You know what? So, well, I do know that where I live at, we have some rosemary bushes. They're huge rosemary bushes, and they have this little white oil or something on them,
Yes.
And
Exactly.
so when I go out in the morning and I'm going to go for my walk or my run, and I need to relax and I need to unwind, and like John just told us before about breathing deeply and taking in a deep breath and everything, I get that little oil off of the rosemary bush, and I put it under my nose.
Good for you.
And then I breathe deeply, And so, but your oils, though, aren't your oils made in Utah? Are they made? Where are they made?
That is the home base for
Okay.
doTERRA.
Okay.
They are sourced throughout the world.
Okay.
And it's very important where you source. You want to get the product where it's indigenous.
Okay.
It is tested at the site. It is tested in transit. It is tested at the plant.
Okay.
And it's tested after it's bottled. So
Okay.
it's
So
certified
it is
pure.
pure, 100%
But
pure.
on the rosemary note, so many good things. Rosemary oil can be used for hair health. You can regenerate your eyelashes with it. Of course, there's safety precautions.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
But that's just an example
Yeah,
of so many
yeah,
things.
yeah.
But
And you know what? I think if we went back like 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, that's how people used to live, and I can go back to the 1950s and 60s. Did you see any obese, fat, sick people back then?
I can do a whole class on that.
And so I think, we're progressing. I'm excited about AI. I believe we are going to learn a lot more, much quicker and faster than what we have been learning. And I think that we're going to be able to start taking better care of our bodies, but it comes with education.
It does. And on that AI note, you need to be very careful because AI, it's advanced more than it was 3 years ago.
Sure.
But it also has a lot of bad information. It's searching the web. So you still have to do your
Sure.
education. You have to talk to your health practitioner. You have to be
Yes,
very,
yeah.
very
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah.
You could get in a lot of trouble. But
So are you considered a health coach? Would you be considered
I don't
a
have a
health coach?
certification for
Okay.
that, but I am considered a wellness advocate.
Okay.
So I advocate
Okay.
for people and
Okay.
educate them. It's my goal to empower you to be in control of your own health.
And do you help other people with Lyme disease now? Are you able to help other people?
I do, and with many other situations and conditions. I educate publicly too. Right now, I'm teaching at Yavapai College in the
Okay.
Alley, the lifelong learning.
Okay. Yes.
I do classes around town, which will pick up again after the holidays. So in
Okay.
January, we'll be doing wellness resets because we know, Christmas time, we all fall off the wagon.
yeah.
and I educate one-on-one or for small groups. So.
Okay. Well, and if people wanted to find you, in the greater Prescott region or the northern Arizona or the state of Arizona, do you have like a website or?
Right now it's being worked on.
Okay.
So, but it will be up and running. It's curatingwellnessaz.com. Right now it's just linked to my link tree, but the website's coming.
Okay. Because I think that is what, with Make 100 Healthy, we're trying, John and I, to tell people it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, your 80s, you can always make changes. And so that's what you're trying to do as well. You're trying to educate people and help people to make changes, but then you're helping to support them
Exactly.
in their journey.
It's never too late, but it's never too early.
That's true too. That is so very true. Well, thank you so very much for coming in. And I know we're going to have John coming back in. And, are you joining our Make 100 Healthy Club?
Oh, absolutely.
Yay!
Absolutely. And thank you for what you and John do. I am so excited about this because it's so needed in our community, especially we have an aging population.
Right.
And it's my goal, excuse me, to get people off of pharmaceuticals. And you can accomplish that in many cases. Everybody's an individual, even though we're a lot alike. But there are things out there that people just don't know about.
Right.
And if they did, they wouldn't have the side effects.
Exactly. Exactly.
Essential oils don't have side effects.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and I appreciate that. And, thank you for everybody for listening. And we're going to take over the next segment.
Thank you, Cecelia.
Bye-bye.
It's a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was an extraordinary segment with Sharon Chase on the power of essential oils and also how you can change your life and your circumstances. Even if you have something as debilitating as Lyme disease, there are nature's ways of healing you. And one of the reasons that we've done this show and have built our club is it is a passion for both Cecelia and I. I call her my sweet angel Cecelia because Cecelia is the owner of the Visiting Angels franchise in Arizona. And both Cecelia and I had the honor of sitting on the Mayor's Commission for Wellbeing for the city of Prescott a few years ago. And we got to know each other. We got to really go deep. And then Cecelia got the job, the opportunity with Visiting Angels. And we're so happy that Visiting Angels is one of the sponsors of the Make 100 Healthy Club. Talk about, everybody knows the jingle. Visiting Angels. Tell me about what you do.
I know. And you know what? Visiting Angels has been around for 25 years. And it is an amazing company. And it was started by people that have big hearts. And basically, we take care of people that need help. I mean, that's it. We go into, somebody has a hip surgery and they live by themselves. And they need somebody to come in and take the sheets off the bed, wash the sheets, and remake the beds. Simple stuff like that. And so I was very fortunate, as John said, about 5 years ago. There's this amazing man by the name of Chris Smith, and he is the owner of all Southwest Colorado Visiting Angels offices, Northern Arizona, New Mexico. They just opened up Cheyenne, Wyoming, which is very exciting. And he has written a book called My Mountains. And he is also going to be a guest speaker on one of our podcasts.
I can't wait.
And I'm so excited because, like you said, when the city council and the mayor, put John and I together on this wellness commission, we both became advocates, because what I see with Visiting Angels over the last, 4 or 5 years, you would not believe how sick people are. People are so sick physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. People need help. And so I think sometimes God puts you in the right place at the right time. And I believe that God made me an angel on earth right now. And he brought John into my life.
Well, you are my sweet angel, Cecelia. And it is so ironic because before even Cecelia had been associated with Visiting Angels, I had an award
Mhm.
for my nonprofit, which is the Make 100 Healthy Foundation. And we give an award called the Arlene's Angel Award. And the Arlene's Angel Award is named after my mom. My mom was given 6 months to live 14 years before she died.
Wow.
My dad was her caregiver. She never spent a moment in a hospice or assisted living. She never left home. She was on a feeding tube for the last 5 years of her life. She lost her ability to speak, to walk, to even eat. And so she was someone who was a teacher. She was gracious. She was loving. She was giving. She was a gardener. And so when my mom passed, it was really something. Arlene's Angel is not my mom. Arlene's Angel was my dad, who was her caretaker.
Exactly.
So what I love
Right.
about the synergy here between Visiting Angels and the Arlene's Angel Award is that we're bringing people together and we're honoring people, and we have honored people. In the past, our first recipient was a lady named Ann Harrington.
Yes.
Ann was going through some health issues, and she wanted to teach plant-based cooking to heal cancer. We gave her an Arlene's Angel Award, and she was able to get that certification
Wow.
from Cornell University online, and she teaches people about healthy cooking. Our second recipient was Stephanie Leon, who is our teacher at the Prescott Food Forest. That's where we teach people how to grow food, and she's a very loving, giving person. Last year, we gave it to a great man named John Gunby. John Gunby
Yes.
is a Hall of Fame PGA pro who gave his life to the people in the vets and the Special Olympics. And he is just a beautiful man. So these are all people that embodied the character of loving, giving, good people that want to share. So we just recently did one a little bit different. A young man named Johan Glidden. Johan is a local musician from Prescott who's now in Nashville, and he's pursuing his dream of putting out his big league album. He is working with big celebrity producers, and we helped participate and fund that for his dream. So how does that work with our show?
Oh gosh, John, it just gives me chills because people don't realize that the true angels on earth are your dad, the caregiver.
That's right, the caregiver.
The caregiver who is out there day in and day out. They're taking care of their loved one. And it's really, really hard to do that. And, they need to have a break. And so, if we can give them just a little bit of a break, we need to find more of these angels out there. And I know they're out there because I have an organization that I started about 3 years ago called Senior Referral Network. And we meet once a quarter. We have about 300-400 people that come to the event. It's in the ballroom, and it's educational. We're matching up caregivers and resources with seniors and all that good stuff.
Great work you're doing.
But we do what we call a hometown hero, and we give them the Hometown Halo Award,
Wow.
and we give them $500. Well, last night we had, because it was Veterans Day, we gave the award to Craig First with the Veterans Affair here in the local community of Prescott. So there are so many people out there that are doing good work, but they don't get, they don't get on TV. They don't get the national, fame or recognition or anything. So I think, John, our Arlene's Angel, I wonder if we should ask people in the audience.
And that's what we're going to do, okay? Because
They might
we
know
know a
somebody.
lot of angels, both
Mhm.
caretakers and teachers and loving people in our community, but so do you. And this is our Make 100 Healthy Club is interactive. And so we would like you to nominate someone you think deserves the Arlene's Angel Award. And each show going forward, we're going to present a winner of the Arlene's Angel Award. And that's going to be someone that is giving of themselves, someone who's teaching others, someone who is putting someone else's life before theirs. And you can get in touch with me personally at john.teammurphy@gmail.com and tell us why the person that you want to nominate is worthy or has done some extraordinary things where they should get the Arlene's Angels Award. My mom was a writer. She wrote a book called The Light of Love. She was someone that through her suffering was an example of resilience and made little mundane daily problems almost unimportant. And that's the power of someone having grace in the worst times of their life. So we'd like to invite you to nominate someone you know, love, or respect to become our next Arlene's Angel, brought to you by Make 100 Healthy and Visiting Angels.
I think I'm just so excited for people to nominate people that they care and they love about, because there's a lot of you out there. And like I said, you're not getting the recognition. You're not up on stage, and you're not doing it for the recognition. You're doing it because you love the person, just like your dad.
Well, my dad needed a break, and he didn't want to take a break. He was relentless.
Sure.
And he knew more than the doctors on taking care of my mom. I'm going to tell you one thing. This is a little tip you can share with your caretakers. So when my mom was being changed that night, he would be with the caretaker. You know, he'd have somebody with him helping him, and he would put vitamin E on her bottom. But then, this is the key, he would blow dry her.
Sure.
And what that did was she was bedridden for 5 years, never had a bed sore.
Wow.
Because there was no moisture. So just a
little
tip
tips,
from Dad. My dad's in heaven now too. So
they're together now.
They're together. He had 1 foot here, 1 foot there. So we'd like your nominations for your choice for the Arlene's Angel Award. Our next segment is something that is close to my heart, close to Cecelia's heart. It's called The Heart of the Matter. Now, we have local physicians and cardiologists that are going to come on, and they're going to share some of the best practices to keep your heart healthy. But the heart of the matter has a double entendre. And it is also the heart of the matter, what's on our heart. And what's on our heart today is that we want you to know that you're not all alone. We are here. There's so many resources to pick you up, to give you a pat on the back, to give you encouragement when you don't think that you can go on. I assure you that if you just take that first step, the second one becomes easier, and the third becomes easier. But the worst place to be is to be stuck in the rut where you are not able to get out of your own way. You're wallowing in self-pity. And that's a very, very sad situation. But it's one that's understandable because, as you said, people are hurting mentally, physically, financially. There's strife in our world, in our country. But what comes down to it is all these things affect your mental, physical, and spiritual health. And we want you to break that pattern right now. So one of the things that we really want you to think about is what's important in your life. Is it your pet? Is it your spouse? Is it your children? Is it what you do in life? The heart of the matter is this, is that life can be difficult and everyone has problems. We all have problems. What really separates people that are happy and healthy and are winning versus those that are defeated and down and depressed is your energy level. It's your frequency. It's your perspective. So Cecelia and I want you to know we're your buddies. We're your accountability buddies, and we're here for you. We're here for you to hear what you have to say and to help you figure out what is your longevity blueprint, because everyone has one and everyone is different, even though they all have elements of the same type of nuances.
Right. And I used to say this. I had an older sister. I just adored her. And I used to say to her, don't let living suck the life out of you. because if you do, you're not going to have a purpose anymore. Because like John said, you're going to have a pity party. And so we want to be there for you so that if you are having a pity party, we're going to be there. We're going to lift you up. We're going to make you be part of our club, and you're going to love it. And that's what we want to do for you.
Well, that's a pretty big, lofty statement that Cecelia made, but not one that she doesn't live every day. And myself, every day, I try to give back to my community. I'd like to give back to my family, but I can never forget taking care of myself. It's, when you're on an airplane and you have to get a flotation device, they always tell you to get your own flotation device before
first.
The person that you love, because if you don't take care of yourself,
first,
you cannot take care of others.
Right.
And so where we started was, what do you have inside your body? What do you eat? What do you drink? What are your movement? Are you sedate? Are you sedentary?
Yeah.
These are all things that you have to, you know the truth. We don't know the truth, but we do want you to feel comfortable in confiding in us and our community and the Make 100 Healthy Club, because this is a club that is dedicated to implementing all the good things that you can do to live a very happy, healthy, productive life. The bottom line is that, as you said, it's never too late, but you have to take action to make change in your life. And that is the heart of the matter. All right, Cecelia.
It's grow time.
Ooh, yeah.
It's grow time.
So as you can tell by some of our segment names, and we are sponsored by the Prescott Food Forest, which is part of the Make 100 Healthy Foundation. And the Prescott Food Forest exists to teach children, families, and older adults the benefits of how to grow food, how to grow natural food locally, from planning to planting to growing to managing, harvesting, eating, cooking, and preserving food. So we thank our friends at Prescott Food Forest, and PrescottFoodForest.com is a place where you can go to, where you can find out how you can help grow food. But like most of our segments, it's grow time, maybe about growing food, or it might be about growing your maturity or your happiness or your relationship. Talk about some of the growth areas that you've seen people go from downtrodden to victorious winners.
Well, and you know what, John? I think when you talk about grow time, I think every single individual in the world wants the same thing. I don't care if it's in the United States, if it's in China, if it's in Russia. We all want the same thing. We want to have health, and we want to love our family, and we want our families to be healthy too. We want them to be safe, and we want to take care of the people that we love. But in order to do that, like John said, every morning when you wake up, you got to have a purpose. There's got to be a purpose why you're getting up and getting out of bed. And so, some people say, well, you know what? I don't have a husband, or I don't have a wife, or I don't have a family, or, I don't have any children. And, but there's so many things that you can do right now. And last night I was at an event, and there's this organization, and they're going to come in and speak. I don't know if you know Julie Pfluger.
I don't know
Julie
her.
Pfluger, her husband, Dr. Paul Pfluger, is an amazing surgeon. And the reason I know him so well is he's operated on my husband several times over the years, But anyway, Julie is on the board for the Prescott Area Shelter Services. And it's called PASS, P-A-S-S. So what does Prescott Area Shelter Services do? They take homeless women off the streets. They give them a place to sleep. They give them a place to be safe. They give them food to eat.
Transitional, right?
They're transitional, and they help them, give them some nice clothes to go out, interview for a job, and make some money so that they can get out of being homeless. Their success rate in Prescott Area Shelter Services, 85%.
Wow.
And so I was talking with her last night with Julie, and she said, I want to come on, your podcast, because we are a nonprofit. We need to raise money.
Okay.
But I was talking to another friend, and she doesn't have a purpose. I said, go help Prescott Area Shelter Services. They need volunteers. We can all have a purpose every day by getting up and going out and helping others. But like John said, you got to help yourself first. Take care of yourself, then you can go help others.
And there are many people that have taken care of themselves. They've exercised, they eat right, they're okay, they're 85 years old, and they die. Why? A lot of times it's because they're lonely.
They're lonely.
They don't have a purpose, a reason to be. And that's one of the things, to live to 100 years, it's really just a goal.
Right.
Whether you live to 98 years or 108 years, because it is possible, you have to have a reason to get up every morning, or else you're going to get bored. You're going to feel down. You're going to feel alone. So a part of our secret recipe to live a long, healthy, happy life with purpose is being a giving, loving person that puts others first. If you put others first, you forget about your own problems.
Exactly. And you know what? I see so many people that they're complaining, oh, I hurt, my arms hurt, my shoulder hurts, my back hurts and everything. If you're out there helping other people, you don't feel the hurt. Right. Because you're helping others. And so I think that is a resurgent that we're seeing with this new generation.
Right.
I'm so excited what I'm seeing with these young kids that are in their 20s and 30s. They figured it out now, and they're saying, you know what? How can I give back? How can I help others? And so I see a lot of veterans, because we take care of a lot of veterans at Visiting Angels. And a lot of them are men that have lost their wives. Their wives have passed on, and they're at home. They're sad. They're lonely. They're depressed. They have nothing to live for. Well, we need to find those people, and we need to help them, John.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm going to segue into a great story. So the Make 100 Healthy Foundation put out a call for help for our Prescott food forest. And one of the people that applied was a U.S. vet. And he and I hit it off right away. I hired him, and he has been working at the farm, and we have produced thousands of pounds of food that we've given out to the local food pantries. Yavapai Food Bank, Solid Rock Food Ministry, St. Vincent de Paul Food Bank, their food pantry, and the Community Pregnancy Center, and all the people that come up and volunteer to help us grow the food, they all take home some of the bounty. So the bottom line is that we are helping people like veterans, and they want to work. They want to have purpose. Sure. This gentleman has gone so far above the call of duty that he has made this the most successful gardening season we've ever had. And because of the weather being good, we're still growing food in November.
Wow. How old was he?
He's only 65.
65 years old. Wow. That's a wonderful story.
So, Cecelia, we are kind of gearing down on our first podcast. I want you to know that when I see you, I see someone with passion, energy, and love. And hopefully you see the same in me.
I do.
And that's why we're here. Why is it part of your demeanor to always be upbeat and happy? Because you always are.
You know what? It's interesting that John, he asked me that question, but I believe that we all have our own story. John's got his story. I've got my story. The people here that we're working with, Cast 11, they all have their own story too. But my story started back when I was 10 years old, and my mom was killed in a car wreck. And back in those days, you just went to the funeral and they told you to get back to school. And so I carried that with me my entire life, because it was a car wreck that happened, her and a bunch of other people, including my dad. They were on a big bus coming back from work up in Wyoming, snowy night, and a semi truck was coming, and a car tried to pass the bus, and the semi truck hit the bus head on. And so I saw how your life can be changed in 2 seconds. 3 seconds, you know? And so I think I carried that throughout my life. And so when people say to me, Cecelia, why are you so happy? Why are you so upbeat? And I look at them, John, and I say, I've got another day to live. I've got another day to go out and play with my life, living my life. And so I like to try to inspire other people. I like to try to help other people, but you don't realize how lucky you are to have another day to live.
Well, there's an old saying, my father said it, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. So live today. Live for today, because that's why they call it the present.
That's right.
Because it's a gift.
It's right. It's a
and
gift.
it is truly a gift. And that kind of leads us into our last segment called Gratitude and Blessings. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you may have success, or maybe you don't have any financial success. Maybe you've been struggling. Maybe your family has basically gone in different directions. You may be all alone. But as Cecelia said, there's always a silver lining. And to have an attitude of gratitude doesn't cost anything. Mm-hmm. It is basically a way of showing your appreciation to your higher power, as we know as God.
Right.
And so I want to share with you how I start my day every day. And I encourage you not to chant my mantra or Cecilia's, but to get your own. But each day, I thank God. I thank Jesus Christ, my Savior. I thank the Mother Mary. I thank my mom and dad in heaven for being part of my life, to be there. And I say good morning to them. Okay. And then I say, thank you, God. Thank you for another day on this earth. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my wife, my children, my home, my business, my abundance. Thank you for the challenges that you've given me, Lord, so that I can learn and grow. Because guess what? A problem is only a pending solution. Okay? If you wind up finding out that, God forbid, you have cancer, that's not the end of the story. It's only the beginning of your next journey. Mm-hmm. And so you have today, and we have this moment. And so when you take a look at that and you really believe that today is a gift, all the little things that irritate you, that person that cut you off in traffic, the teller at the bank that was maybe rude to you, it doesn't mean anything. So if you can glean anything out of our first podcast of the Make 100 Healthy Show Club, we'd like you to know that having an attitude of gratitude, of thanksgiving, of feeling blessed. And the word blessed means that you can pray, dear God, thank you. Please, God, look out for this person. The power of prayer, and we're going to get into this in future segments, is a frequency. It's a vibrational frequency. So the power of prayer is absolutely harnessing the energy of this universe. So I would just like to say that I am grateful that I've met you. Wow. And that we've become such good friends. So and that grateful. You asked me to collaborate together, because we do have different life experiences. We come from different backgrounds. Being a woman and a man, we have different perspectives that, at the end of the day, the way we express ourselves may be different, but our hearts, as you said, everybody wants to be loved, to feel special and important. And I will tell you, Cecelia, on behalf of you and everybody, you are important. If you're tuned in to our podcast, there's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. And we want you to know we appreciate you. We're grateful for you. And we'd like you to tell your friends. And this is not about making tons of money. It's about sharing the best practices so that you're not all alone. That together, yes, you can make 100 healthy. Here's our little role model right here, a little mascot. And so on behalf of Cecelia and all the other people out there that are passionate about implementing the best practices to live a long, healthy, and a life of purpose. We want to thank you for tuning in. And I'd like to say nothing but thanks for myself and sweet angel Cecelia. And we'll see you next time on the Make 100 Healthy Club podcast.